5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Good morning, Misfits. All right. So, it's fucking here. It's here. The fucking golden era. It's here. Did anybody else wake up feeling fucking different? I really, and I'm not bullshitting you. I really did. I really did. Look, for those people that are just sort of like into politics, kind of indifferent, or just sort of don't give a shit at all. You probably felt the same as you felt every other day. But for those people who have fought for Trump for years and years, I've been a supporter of Trump since the beginning. But the way my support was I wasn't political in 2015. I really didn't know shit about politics. I really didn't. I moved in with my buddy. Slash, he's kind of like a bonus dad, or was. He passed away. R.I.P. Dennis. Moved in with him. He was super into politics. So, you're hanging out and he's just constantly got the news on. So I sat there and I started watching the news and it became a bonding thing. And he was all about Trump. He loved Trump. So he starts showing me about Trump. And I'm like, you know what? I fucking do like this guy. I like him, I didn't vote in the 2016 election. Like I said, I didn't really care about politics, but I was rooting for him. I ended up betting a couple of my friends. I ended up betting two different friends, $500 each. I was a crazy person. I was a gambling addict. I bet my friends $500 each that Trump would win. And they were like, nope, Hillary, Hillary. And I was watching the fucking election like it was the fucking Super Bowl because I had $1,000 on the line. And I was losing my shit. Every time they called a state, I got up like they scored a touchdown. So, fast forward few months, I start really getting into politics, and then, the rest is history. But I mean, when you went through all of that, I didn't waver. I didn't fair weather fan at all. If I pick a person, I stick by him. And seeing all the shit they've done to that man over the past, fuck, 10 years now. Like, I mean, it's about 10 years. It is brutal. It really is, and there's 4 more to go. The thing is, their shit backfired on Trump so hard because if they had just not been crazy people, and by they, I mean liberals, deep staters, TDS morons, if they just sort of took an L, if they took a fucking L 10 years ago, then we'd be fine. We'd be fine. I mean, technically, what was it? It was 8 years ago, but they've been coming at him since before that. Yeah, if they just took the L, they would have had 8 years of Trump, nothing major. It would have been, probably a really good presidency. He would have done a lot to help the country, but maybe he wouldn't have, been historical. But no, now they get fucking 12 years, 14, 16 years, whatever it is. He's iconic because in spite of trying to destroy him. So we got a good show today. All right, if you've never watched the Daily Breakdown before, the Daily Breakdown is when I type the word news into a search bar and I talk about whatever's coming up. However, today we're going to bring on a really cool guest. I was just on his podcast last week. Nico I don't want to fuck up his last name. Lagan or Lagan? Nico Lagan. He'll correct me when he jumps on. Lagan. You can check out the show notes for all of the articles that I'm about to give you. Make sure you hit the like button on this Rumble post. If you are watching on YouTube or X, I'm not looking at your fucking chats. You better get the fuck over to Rumble. Rumble is the place to be. Rumble is the only free speech platform. I just got another fucking sensitivity warning on X today because some salty cunt decided to run all the way back to September. I bet you that, look, I don't even bet you, I know they do this, right? My haters and my stalkers, right? They're like little fucking beanie babies. I keep them. They're my toys. But I've had stalkers for fucking years. And what they do is they sit there, they must be fucking bumping lines and just going through every fucking post that I have and hitting report, 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 report. But I got a fucking sensitivity warning because somebody reported a post from September 17th. And it was the fucking post about the beeper bomber, right? The one that they fucking blew up Hezbollah's balls with pagers. They literally blew up terrorist nutsacks with pagers. And my post it was a picture of the terrorists in like a fucking makeshift diaper. And I said, Hezbollah will forever be known as Dickless Islam. And that got me a sensitivity warning. So that's twice this week. They're coming at me pretty hard. But I am the fucking band champ. And I will never go away. They banned the fucking X account that I just built. Get another one. I don't give a fuck about your rules. I know how to do it. I'm on my third X account. Two technical accounts with 3 bands. 360 something fucking bands on TikTok, 30 fucking bands on Facebook, 3 different Instagram accounts. Clapper fucking banned me. I have had 5 Cash Apps that they have shut down. I am banned from Venmo for life. Stripe, Square. I can't go on fucking dating apps. Can you fucking believe they somehow got me banned from dating apps? Thank you, by the way. Women are fucking psycho on there. But you get what I'm saying? I have ruffled the feathers of a psychotic person or persons, and they are literally stalking me and constantly. I had the fucking FBI come to my house about social media because I triggered them so hard. Because I am an equal opportunity cunt. I will go after the left. I will go after the right. I will go after anyone. Anyone that does not have the best interests of America in their heart. Like, that's why I'm going after Andrew Tate. I don't give a fuck if he votes for, well, he doesn't vote for Trump. He lives in Romania. I don't give a fuck if he supports Trump. I don't give a fuck. If you are bad for this country, I'm calling you out. Liberals were bad for the country when they were trying to cancel people on TikTok. That's why I went after them. They were trying to destroy conservative lives. The woke right now that I'm going after, they are bad for this country, right? Why do you call it the woke right and the woke left, by the way? Okay, I'll tell you right now. Why are we using the word woke? People are really upset about that. They're like, stop using the word woke. No, I will. And here's why. Woke is authoritarianism, check, right? On both sides. The woke right and the woke left both want the federal government to impose their views on the opposing party. Woke, check, check. Woke uses race to get their message across, right? Check, check. Both parties. The woke left uses race. Racist. The woke right, they're fucking anti-Semitic or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Victim mentality, both sides, woke, right? I can't believe Elon took my check mark. That's not free speech. Check, right? They're just Marxists on different sides. And they are both extreme. They are both the loudest and dumbest voices in either party. Check. Woke. You're both woke. And I'm calling out woke. Speaking of, Nico, who's going to be joining us, his podcast is Unwoken, so we can talk about that when he gets on here. But let's do the daily breakdown. The daily breakdown is usually 3 or 4 or 5 headlines that are just news. And today it's Trump. Well, and Ohio. Show notes are in the link description, as well as Nico's website. But let's start off here. Trump executive orders already face pushback, legal challenges. Yeah, we saw that fucking coming. Can you fucking people, by the way, just stop? This didn't work the first time, and you're just doing it over again. Are we literally gonna do this we're literally just gonna do 2016 all over again? Where it's just constant, nonstop pushback? Why doesn't the left know how to take a fucking L? Just take the L. I just told you, you fucked up. It always backfires. Always. 100% of the time, your craziness backfires. Yet you're doing it again. Just let him cook. Let him cook and see what happens. Go fucking have your mom make you a sandwich with the crust cut off. Sit the fuck down. Shut the fuck up. But nope, we're going to be dealing with fucking fake news and crazy liberals for the next 4 years. But anyway, here's the article. Shortly after winning a second term, Trump tapped Musk to lead Doge. I don't know why, but Vivek Ramaswamy is going to supposedly be out, but that's fine. I never really trusted him. I don't trust anybody. Don't even trust Elon. Elon could be a fucking crazy person who's just trying to take over the world. You never know. Spending cuts, government. I'm just gonna skim through it. Doge is not exempt from FACA's requirements. The Federal Advisory Committee Act. Okay. To President Barack Obama signed an executive order. Blah blah blah. President Joe Biden. Blah blah blah. Executive order included some things that legal scholars, legal experts say may be out of reach from the president's pen, including ending birthright citizenship. So, you guys can go read that whole thing. I'm only skimming through these because we got a guest coming on. But let me really quick touch on birthright citizenship. Right, people, we're the only fucking country that does that. We're the only fucking country where you can make an anchor baby. Right? We literally are the only country. And people are like, well, Vivek is an anchor baby, so he'll be deported. Listen, if we do it, it's obviously going to be from now moving forward. It's not like we're going to go, everybody who was here before is gone. I highly doubt it. Or anybody that's naturalized would probably be the more pragmatic approach, right? So if it would be retroactive if you're still here and you're an anchor baby, not a citizen. But Tom Homan said it best. Like when he was interviewed, Tom Homan, the new border czar, was asked, "Can you do mass deportations and keep families together?" And Tom Homan was like, "Of course you can. Families can be deported together." And it was a mic drop moment, but it's what every other fucking country does. Everyone. The US is the only one that's like, you can literally break into this country, fuck, and 9 months later, you don't gotta go nowhere. That don't work. No, fuck you. No, get out. Get out. All of you get out. Take it. Your baby is a citizen of your country. Just because you fucking floated over some fucking arbitrary line. Now, bye. Bye. If they've already been naturalized, if you're already a citizen, and for certain cases, put them on a path to citizenship. I'm saying when I say deport everybody, I'm not saying deport everybody. I'm saying, hey, would we have let you stay regardless? Okay, you got to do a bunch of stuff to stay, but for now, you're good. But don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Don't break a single law. You better wear your fucking seatbelt, or it's afuera. Just saying. And if you guys think that that's cold, I don't give a fuck. Don't care. All right. Let's go to the next headline. Trump again. Trump's inauguration live updates first. Pardon J6 rioters. Oh, they were rioters. I thought they were protesters, but it was a small little riot. I said yesterday, Trump pardoned everybody, I think, except for 6 people. I think he gave out 6 commutations. But I was talking about Jake Lang yesterday. We covered Jake Lang on the show. He was that guy who was on video swinging a bat at a Capitol police officer, trying to fucking hurt people. I watched the whole video. He was advancing. He wasn't defending himself. It wasn't like the Capitol police were beating people up and he was like, leave me alone. No, he was trying to hurt them. He was also lying to a bunch of people while he was inside. He was doing podcast interviews. He was grifting people. He was raising tens of thousands, I think maybe over $100,000, while claiming that he was in solitary confinement. How are you in solitary confinement and going on fucking phone call podcast interviews? The whole thing, the whole thing about that guy stinks. If Trump was pardoning 99% of people, that would be the 1% where I would say, nope, leave him in there. But people made a good point. They were like, well, he has been in there for almost 4 years, and that does seem like punishment enough. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. So Trump made the right call. He pardoned everyone, I think. I don't think he left anyone in there. And there are videos right now of Capitol Police or police, I think, actually in D.C. who are not releasing some of the protesters or some of the prisoners, and that's going to be a fucking dangerous game you're playing, right? The presidential pardon power. If you want to challenge that, then we'll just challenge Joe Biden fucking pardoning his whole family. They're coming home. This bottom line, and it is a good thing. All right, next up, Ohio State leads. I don't care. Football, go ahead. Fucking, I left the link for that fucking article in the description. I don't care. I don't watch sports anymore. I don't fucking. My buddy was over. We watched the game, but just because he's from Washington and he's a big fan, he got fucking absolutely hammered over here. I had to kick him out. I was like, bro, I'm trying to go to bed. He was dancing around my apartment. I made some fucking homemade mead, and my boy was fucking lit. And I'm fucking drinking. I still got a can from yesterday. I'm drinking no Hitos, no alcohol. So being sober around drunk people, that's fun. But I don't care about football is the moral of the story. As soon as they started kneeling for the national anthem and making everything about fucking politics instead about catching a fucking ball and running it and shutting the fuck up, stop putting fucking political messages on the back of your helmets. Shut up. I stopped watching. So fuck football. I don't care. Only sport I care about is MMA. And finally, Trump executive actions on border immigration. What to know? I did get a slide for this one, and let's go through it really quick. Declaring a national emergency at the border, and ending birthright citizenship, which we just talked about. These are some of the big ones. Designating cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. This is a fucking big one, guys. This is a huge one. I have been calling for this for a very long time. I did not expect this from Trump. I did not know he was going to do this. I was just as surprised as everybody else. But this is exactly what needs to happen. And Trump even confirmed it in the signing with the press. He answered a question from Peter Doocy. Will you send the military into Mexico? And Trump goes, maybe. Anything could happen. The way he was shutting down reporters yesterday, it really did give me hope for the future because he is not fucking around. This is the Trump we voted for. This is the Trump we wanted. And this is the Trump we got, right? I know I disagree with him on the TikTok thing, but I'm not a fucking liberal, all right? I can disagree with people and still support them. It's crazy, right? I can say you are downright fucking stupid on one thing and still look at the overall good that you bring and go, hey, you know what? That's okay. I don't like this thing, but I like this thing, 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 this, all of the other things. I like them. So fuck. Sure. I think TikTok should be fucking banned, and I think that Trump is being played. But holy shit. Within fucking 12, that motherfucker woke up and went all day. I was fucking tired by 6 p.m. He was still going. He was dancing. He was cutting a fucking cake with a sword. He was doing the YMCA with a sword at 11 p.m. Like, fuck. Dude, that's the president we want. You know what I look at when I see a president, when I see a leader, a world leader, right? I want to see a guy that I can go, I'm jealous of. You work harder than me. I am a hardworking person. And if you are leading this country, you better work harder than me, in fact. Right? This is why I have so much contempt for Congress. They fucking work less than school teachers. They take half the fucking year off. They all live in fucking mansions. Trump doesn't need this job. He never did. He was a fucking billionaire. I say this all the time. Do you know how much $1 billion is? It's $1,000,000,000. If I gave you $1 million, you could probably be set for the rest of your life. He has multiple thousands of those. Like 6. He has $6,000,000,000. He doesn't need to be president. It's fucking insane to me that anyone is giving him shit. Ending asylum to illegals. But yeah, by the way, terrorist organizations, we're gonna fucking. My brother died of a fentanyl overdose. Okay, guys, Mexico and China kill hundreds of thousands of people per year. And that's why I don't like TikTok, because China also indoctrinates millions of people every year with that fucking brainwashing app. But Mexico and China are not our friends. Fuck Putin. I don't give a fuck about Putin. Mexico, China, they kill people in this country. Period. Full stop. Ending asylum to illegals. You can do that easy. That one's not even going to be fucking contested. I don't care what they say. Suspending refugee resettlement. Clarifying the military's role in protecting territorial integrity of the United States, and reinstating remain in Mexico. So all good things. Everything he did yesterday was amazing. Now we're gonna bring on Nico in a quick second, um, but I think that we're looking. We got to look positive to the future, but we also don't want to celebrate too early. This is going to be a fight. This fight is not over at all. They are going to try every dirty fucking trick they can. The media will turn on him. They're already trying it. They're already fucking posting videos of crying women fucking, oh my god, I can't get into America. I don't care. I'm gonna watch that video on repeat while reading my fucking birth certificate to remind me that I didn't fuck around and try to sneak into another country. I'm supposed to be here. You're not. Fuck you. I don't care. You tried to break our law. I don't have any sympathy for you at all. Right? I'm sorry that we foiled your fucking plan to commit a felony. Cry all you want. We have to have that mentality. You got to be cold. You got to be cold because the benefit the cost way outweighs the benefit of safety and security for people that are supposed to be here. We've seen it. Lake and Riley, Jocelyn Nungari. We've seen it. All right? It's over. Cope. And we really, really, really need to focus on 2022. I'm sorry, I say that all the time. 2026. We need to focus on 2026 and 2028. Do not get complacent, right? The fucking people like Andrew Tate and the woke right that are infiltrating us are here to fuck things up, not make MAGA better. They're not here to make America great again. They're here to boost their own platforms and hurt the party. Keep those people in fucking check and laser focus on 2022. The main thing that needs to happen, election integrity. Without that, we are fucked. They will cheat again. They have been cheating. But let's bring on Nico. I'm going to give Nico a call here, and we're going to do a little interview. I was on his show last week, like I said, and wanted to return the favor. I'm going to try my best not to talk over him because he's the man of the hour and not me this time. So let's see if he picks up right now. Here he is.
Roman.
All right, let's see. Why aren't you? We did fucking perfectly fine in the fucking test, and now, yeah. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, but your box. You got a small box. It's a problem on this show. We have a little box problem, and every time a guest
Is that
comes.
the little problem you
Oh
have?
wait.
Not
Oh
the
oh.
only one?
Nope. It's always a joke too. It's always the
Of
joke.
course it is.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not that smart, so of course.
I'm just right now playing with your box. We're just gonna tick a little.
You have very gentle hands.
We're gonna
They're very
tick a little
smooth
little.
too. Jesus.
We're gonna resize.
Thanks.
We're gonna resize it. We're gonna stimulate it. We're gonna get it right. We're gonna put it in so it fits perfect. And there we go. Nico, thanks for coming on the show, brother. I was just telling everybody I was on yours last week. We were talking about Christianity and Andrew Tate and everything like that. We covered that. So go check out his YouTube channel, or sorry, Rumble channel. Unwoken, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Unwoken.
man. Unwoken indeed.
And that's what also we were just talking about, right? I mean, have you've heard of the term woke right now that people are using? I've used that for years. I think I was the first one to use it, but I called them woke conservatives
Sure.
because they were the people that were trying to cancel me. When the left came after me, it was really a strange phenomenon on TikTok. The right was coming after me too. It was very weird. I was like, you guys are acting just like the left with the mass reporting, with the emotional outbursts, and they were using weird language. You know, like on TikTok, one of the biggest dangers I think of that app is they've gotten people to literally change their language. I don't know if you're on it or if you're familiar with it, but they
Yep.
don't even say China has successfully changed Americans' language, right? In this brainwashing operation. They say unalive, they instead of killed or suicide. They say grape like the fruit instead of rape. They're always trying to not have their accounts suspended because that platform is it's a super AI algorithm that will pick up words you say. So they've figured out how to talk different, and they think that that's a good thing. It's like, no, China just made you talk different. Do you understand the problem with that? Like, you're supposed to be able to say whatever you want. You're not supposed to have to say grape. But
But you know, man, as much as you say that about TikTok, I can tell you that Instagram's the same, man. Like, I
it's
don't see any difference between
I can tell you it's
the
way
way
different.
Instagram treats my content and TikTok treats my content. I think I've been banned on TikTok, I've been banned on Instagram, but
Hmm.
I would say, man, same thing with Facebook. I've been banned on all those 3 platforms. The
Hmm.
only one I haven't been banned on is X and
Yeah.
Rumble. Obviously, those are the only ones at this point, but they are I think that we're very small-minded if we think that it's just a China thing,
Well.
because it is happening in the US too. Like, if you read 1984 from George Orwell, that's one
Mhm.
of the first thing that they do, right? They rewire the way that we speak, and they
Right.
simplify it for idiots.
Yeah.
Like, let's call a spade, right? And that's what's going on. So, is it happening on TikTok? Absolutely, it's happening, no questions about it.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to be honest and say that it's also happening on Instagram. It's also happening on Facebook. It's also, and you said yourself, I don't know if I heard you correctly, but you said you got in trouble for a post on X too, right? So
Oh, yeah.
eventually it's a matter of time before it starts happening there.
Well, that's
The
I
only
was
platform I see now is Rumble. That's
mhm.
it. He's the only owner that said to the UK government, print screen your email, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
We're not dealing with
with
this shit.
with Russell Brand. I was just about to say that. Look, you are correct, okay? And this is the false equivalency that I get from people that I wouldn't say are defending TikTok, but they're using the whataboutism argument, right? And it's a good argument, but it's not a real argument, right? Because like if murder and heroin dealing is illegal, right? And there's a neighborhood where there's a guy who's killing people and dealing drugs, you don't say, well, that's okay because there's also a hooker down this. There's also a brothel 2 doors down, right? It's like it's the way that TikTok and does things. And I mean, we have different experiences. I'm on Instagram and I don't get banned that much. I say rape, I say cunt, I say fucking a bunch whatever I want. And for some reason Instagram isn't banning me. And TikTok, it's just the censorship on steroids. So the analogy I use is TikTok, comparing TikTok to American social media companies is like comparing heroin to alcohol. But I do see the point in trying to make the comparison. My biggest concern is that it's China doing it. And I am of the mindset that while it is wrong what Zuckerberg is doing, and it is even wrong what Elon Musk is doing, Elon Musk does not have a free speech platform. Like I said,
No, not anymore. No.
Linda Yaccarino, when he made Linda Yaccarino, who's the WEF queen CEO, he gave her a green light to censor people, and they do have a point that X does censor people.
Mhm.
The people that are bitching about not being monetized, they're not being censored, but there are people that are being censored. And we don't have to turn this into a TikTok, clinic,
No, no,
but
but
but I do
I'm
believe
not
I do
disagreeing
believe
with
there's a
you.
difference. I do believe there's a massive difference, actually.
But at the same time, if you're conscious of that, because at the end of the day, I believe in accountability. So, first and foremost, yes, it's China doing it. I think that anybody that thinks that China is not spying on its users is absolutely insane.
Correct.
They are, no questions about it. That we're going to establish that from the get go. But
Yeah.
at the same time, so Zuckerberg, so is Elon Musk, so
Yeah.
is
But I mean
Rumble, so is every single platform.
that's like
But no, but I
your parents going through your phone versus somebody else, you know,
yeah,
like
but I
it's
don't. You know what? I don't need parents. That's the whole
I
point,
know.
right?
No, 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 I get it.
See, this is always where I'm going to come from. I believe in the First Amendment first
Mhm.
and foremost, no matter where it is, no matter the platform.
Yeah.
At the same time, I got to tell you though, in order for me to grow and make, because I have a lot of videos that went viral on TikTok, it forced me, and you're absolutely right, when I had to change my language, but it allowed me to develop an extremely sarcastic type of content that does
Mhm.
extremely well on every single other platform.
Yeah.
The only difference is I know how to word. I don't change my words per se. Like I'm not going to stop myself from saying
Self
rape or
censor.
killing, but I am extremely sarcastic. Instead of saying what the actual problem is, you
Mhm.
insinuate it,
Yeah, I had to
just
do
like
the
the
same.
people are doing. But that's my point, right? So is it bad? Is it good? I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Sorry, hate is. I don't hate anything, but I dislike it
Yeah.
because it should be free speech. But that's outside of Rumble, man. That's
Rumble
that's
is
a truth
yeah.
that it's the only one.
Rumble's
It's the
the
only one.
only one, and I think we're in full
Yeah.
agreement on that. So anyway, let me get to you, man. So I went through your bio, right? I mean, it's not very in depth, but it's pretty good, man. Because I have some questions now. If you guys, by the way, I put Nico's website on there, and you guys can go check it out too. It's in the show notes, but it says here that you were a sales engineer. You moved to the
Mhm,
woods where you stayed there for 2 years, and then your former employer told you to get vaccinated and you refused. So like
mhm.
that's I need we need to dig into that. You first of all, you're in the fucking woods, right? Like it's like you're what would they call, did they tell you like fucking via carrier pigeon like, "Hey, I know you're way out there, but you got to get the shot. You got to get the clot shot." Like
You know, I'm Canadian, right? I spent half of my times in Canada, half of my time in the US,
mhm,
and back in 2021 when this whole fucking vaccination crap came out, I'm a sales engineer by trade, so that means I wore a suit and I was in front of big customers day in day out, like especially corporation governments and big entities like banks and school boards.
mhm,
And one day we had lockdowns. We couldn't be within 6 feet of each other.
mhm.
So that meant that all my meetings went from face to face to Skype,
Yeah.
Teams, and Zoom, right? So I had a place in the city, but I also had a house in the middle of nowhere. I come from a very, very small town,
Mhm.
and I had kind of what you call a cottage, but it's not just a cottage, it was a real house.
Yeah.
But imagine log house, top of the mountain in the middle of the woods. Like
Mhm.
it's as Canadians as it can be, right?
Yeah.
It's
With
and
internet connection or
with
like
Starlink, with
Starlink.
Starlink.
Okay.
So I had Starlink, which gave me about 100 meg up and down, so I had no problems.
Okay.
I had no problem whatsoever there, and yeah, man, I stayed there for about 2.5 years altogether. 1.5 was by myself
Uh-huh.
with my dogs, and I was still working remotely, but
Huh.
I was spending 99% of my time alone.
And then what happened? Why
So
did they tell you to get vaccinated then?
that's Canada for you, man.
Yeah.
There
So
we became extremely authoritarian. We
mhm.
had a state emergency declared everywhere, and you look at the rate of vaccination in Canada, you're looking at 91%.
Wow.
So 91% of
Fuck.
Canadians are vaccinated. In the US, it's 79. So let's call sake for argument like 80. That's what they
Wow.
call it. Is it true or not? I don't know,
I
but I
don't
can
know
tell
about
you,
that. Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's only 91% in Canada. I
Yeah.
would say that it's higher than that from the people that I've met.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
I've met a bunch of people in here that aren't I don't I guess you sort of flock to like-minded people, so it could be a skewed view
mhm,
of the personal statistics, but I met so many people that are my buddy two, three of my buddies who aren't political were like, I didn't get it. One of them says I just faked my vaccination card. Right? The other one said he got one. And then he was like, "Nope, I didn't like it." He's like, I didn't want to do it the first time, so I faked my vaccination card on the second one." So I think that a lot of the statistics are based off of that, like self-report. And
It's possible.
they obviously want to make they want to release statements like, "Look how many people complied."
Yeah.
I mean, this is my shirt right now. I will not comply.
Yeah.
So,
But, you know, man, 91%, and we didn't have that cardboard ID type of vaccination card. It was electronic. You had not only did you have to get vaccinated, you had to install that app on your phone
that's so
and
fucking
show it to people. So you basically people that did it, not only did they inject poison in their veins, but
uh-huh.
they actually gave full control of their cell phones. Imagine what TikTok did to your phone, or what Meta
Yeah.
does with your app. They gave that to the government. So
Yeah.
basically, yes, I will give you all this shit.
It's
So
dystopian.
100%, man. And you know, this is one part that most Americans never hear about, but I was not allowed to go. The only two places I was allowed to go, the grocery store and the pharmacy.
Huh.
I was not allowed to go anywhere else, like to a point where I'm a martial art teacher, right? I'm an engineer by trade, but I've been in martial arts for about 20 years and I used to teach.
Mhm.
When COVID happened, I couldn't teach anymore. I wasn't allowed in gyms.
Yeah.
So I couldn't teach martial art. I couldn't go to the gym. I spent between 5 to 10 grand, build myself a gym in my house, and I worked out from there because this is just a no-brainer. I've been doing it for more than 20 years. It's
Mhm.
never gonna stop.
Yeah.
But tell me this is not dystopian. Like at one point we had certain areas, people weren't allowed to leave their area.
Yeah, Australia
So
did
on that.
that 500,
Mhm,
500 meters, I think, where they weren't able to leave their homes, and they basically had concentration camps in Australia. Like
mhm.
they were essentially locking people in camps, and Australians were like, "Yeah, this is for our own good." It's like, "No, no, no, that you this is bad." Like it's the government is never supposed to be able to tell any country that you are a subject that is supposed that's cattle. You're an
Yep.
animal at that point. That's not
But
free, you have no free will.
the old saying, you're the government's supposed to be scared of you, not the other
Ex-
way around.
exactly.
Not the other way around. And but man, the country went full totalitarian.
Yeah.
And you know, I went to all those the protests that they organized. I went to you know, the Freedom Trucker that you saw on TV. I was there.
Yeah, Trudeau
And
fucking did Trudeau seize your bank account?
Freeland, the finance minister that is now trying to become the new prime minister of Canada, she actually froze people's bank accounts,
Yeah.
people that donated to the Freedom Truckers, people that were part of the organization.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the type of government that we actually have in Canada. And now people are all, oh great, Pierre Poliev is going to save us. He's a fucking leftist with a
He's
sense of economy.
yeah, what
That's it.
I call him a Canadian moderate, which is essentially an American liberal. Right? Like and we had on
He'd be a Democrat. In
yeah.
the US, he's definitely a Democrat. Absolutely.
We had on
100%.
last week actually, the last show we did, we had on Mark Slapinski, who is Canadian. We were talking all about this. He's pro Pierre, but you know, I would say be cautiously optimistic. But Pierre has some really good sound bites, and he said some really smart things, especially when it comes to the economy, right? So, but
He's not an idiot.
no,
Don't underestimate him, right?
yeah,
But he's a career politician, which is
correct.
where I draw the line. I've known him since he was a small fucking MP in Carleton next to Ottawa, like a small fucking place.
Mhm.
I've known of him since then. And you know what? He's flip-flopped his whole fucking career.
See, this is good because I got one perspective from one Canadian. Now I'm getting a completely different perspective, and this was the whole point of my interview last week. Is I don't know shit about Canadian politics, and neither do 99% of Americans that are talking about it.
Mhm,
So you need to be honest with yourself when you're talking about these other issues. The only issue politically that I can be 100% certain that I'm at least educated on is American politics, right?
mhm.
Everything else, I'm going off of headlines and news and clips and what have you. So hearing you have a completely different view of the last Canadian guy that I had on here is very interesting because it's the same
The
dynamic that we have in America.
You know, the thing to keep in mind is that I'm not a right-leaning guy, I'm not a left-leaning guy, I sit somewhere in the middle. I'm a conservative, I'm
Yeah.
traditional in my values. I'm a
Yeah.
Christian first and foremost.
Correct.
I follow Christ.
Correct.
There's no government right now. Trump doesn't talk Christ,
Yeah.
neither does Democrat, right?
Yeah.
So do I
Jesus.
follow either of them? No. Do I align with one more than the other?
Yeah.
Yes. And the same thing is true with Pierre Poliev, right?
Uh-huh.
If you give me a choice, do I align more with him than I do with the liberals? Absolutely.
Hmm.
Do I believe that they're the best option? Fuck no, they're not.
Hmm.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't like politicians.
No, me
I don't
neither.
care that you're middle center, you're in the left or the right. I don't trust you. If you tell me you're a politician, I don't trust you from the get go.
This was my problem with DeSantis. I've said this so many. I've said the exact same thing that you're saying. I go, why do I like
Mhm,
Trump? Because he's not a politician, right? Why do I like JD Vance? JD Vance is barely a politician. He was only in for like a year and a half, 2 years before Trump snatched him. He's a Marine who
mhm.
was an author, and he just basically barely got into Ohio politics, and then he did such a good job in a short period of time that Trump tapped him. So I was excited about that. But Ron DeSantis is a career politician. I don't like politicians because politicians are sort of trained. Their on the job training is to be dishonest, right?
Mhm.
And it's like it's very hard to trust somebody who went into a career
Yeah.
of essentially being dishonest. Same reason you don't trust lawyers, right? You don't want to trust a lawyer and you don't want to trust a politician. It's common fucking sense, you know? Like it's Trump is not a politician. He will never be a politician. He's never worked in politics other than the presidency. The only
It
position
should
he's ever
cost you
had.
something.
Yeah.
It should cost you something to serve the public should be a cost.
He's the
You
only
should
public
lose
servant.
money.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That's it's
So
what
that I respect no matter how I feel about Trump, because there's a
yeah.
lot of things that he says that I disagree with. I don't
Yep.
like the delivery.
Hmm.
I don't know if I like him as a guy. I don't know him.
Yeah.
But I can tell you there's a lot of things I disagree with, but that I respect. You have to respect him no matter how you feel about him. The fact that when he was president from 2016 to 2020, he fucking lost money because he
Two
couldn't run his businesses.
2 billion, he lost $2 billion.
And but this is my point.
And he
You
was
never hear the
attacked.
left talk about that.
Yeah,
You never hear the fact that he's the first president to literally not take a salary and give it away.
correct.
So,
JFK
okay,
did,
do
but
I like him?
that's way different. JFK gave away like
But
80 grand. Like,
yeah, but do I like him as a person? I don't know. Is there
Yeah,
things I disagree with? 100%. Can I respect him?
there
Absolutely.
you go. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about so are you an American citizen or are you
Nope.
here on you're here on a work visa?
No,
Um,
no, not even, not even.
you just
In order
visit?
for me to get a work visa, I need to be vaccinated. That's why we don't have a
Oh,
visa here.
you don't have to worry about that anymore. We're gonna get rid of that.
That's what we're hope but that is what we're hoping. Because if
We're-
that's the case, my wife and I would love to move down south. Like,
I
we're in
think
Alabama. We fucking love Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and
I'll reach out to a couple people that I know that are in the orbit, and I'll be like, "Hey, is Trump gonna get rid of
yeah,
that?" Because, yeah, I'm friends with a couple people that are close to Trump. Let's just say a couple people that have
I would love it.
interviewed him.
But I would love to be here, but technically we're on a, visitor visa because 'cause we're Canadian, we get
So
to be
yeah,
here for 6 months.
so
So we do 6 months US, 6 months Canada.
so you can do it every year, 6 months. Is that how it works?
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's normally you can be here for 6 months and you have to leave for 6 months. So we have an RV that we leave in Alabama.
Hmm.
We just go back to Canada, but
Is that where
we've
you?
traveled your country, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen 23 states over the past 2.5
Well, if
years, give or
you
take,
got to
so
go to Texas, you got to come to San Antonio and fucking we'll blow shit up.
oh, bro, if I would have known you back then, I was there. We spent quite some time in Arizona, Texas.
Yeah.
We did coast to coast to coast, like 20,000 miles, give or take, so.
That's pretty cool. So it says you're an author here. What was your book and what was it about? And also a mentor. We'll get to that. But what was the body of your work?
What I discovered when I spent too much time alone,
So it was
how
autobiography.
No, not even. It's a I gotta tell you, man, it is not a great book. Your first book is never that great. Like, that was really it's a self-publish. I did everything myself, and it was an exercise as in how do you put your thoughts on paper?
Hmm.
So it's about masculinity. It's about basically the regime that I go through every day,
Okay.
from the connection between your mind, body, and soul. So, but it's vague, man. Like, I look back at it, I'm like, it's vague.
Yeah.
It's not the best, but I'm already about 40,000 words in my second, which this is the one I'm writing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The first one was to understand how the system works, because you know as well as I do, if you have an opinion, people are not going to touch you.
Yeah.
So I know that people are not going to publish my book. I need to publish I
Yeah.
need to publish it myself. So it
Yeah.
was a learning experience.
That's pretty awesome. So is the second book gonna be similar
No,
no? What's second one?
the second book is going to be more about me finding God,
Good.
because it was a long time coming, right? This whole story started when I was about 14,
Yeah.
and I found God about 2 years. Let's give 3 years
We
ago.
talked about
Like
that.
let's
You know,
yeah.
it's we need more people to do that, by the way. And I feel like there's an awakening going on. With myself, we talked about this on your show, where I don't know. There's no such thing as a good or a bad Christian, but there are Christians that are more um close to the word, if you want to put it that way.
Mhm.
Right. And then there are people like me, I think I use the analogy. I'm not the sheep, I'm not the sheepdog, I'm the wolf. But I still
Yep.
believe, I still have faith, I still believe, but I'm still a wolf. And we need more people to speak up about that, because I feel like there's a vacuum that needs to be filled. There, people are looking for something, and that I think a lot of people went and found that in control. They were being controlled. A lot of people still do. People are constantly on their phones, and they're being controlled by a device, or they're being controlled by a narrative, or they're being controlled by the media, or by their own political party, or and like being a Christian is about releasing that control. It's about literally just all faith, all trust. Right? You have no control, and I think that a lot of people would be more peaceful if they were to give their life to Jesus. But it's a big step. It's a big leap of faith, and you got to feel it. You can't just decide to do it.
And at the end of the day, that's why I do what I do. I'm not doing this because I thought it was easy.
Mm.
Like being an engineer was a lot easier and I made a shit ton of fucking money. So I could have continued and do that and just be set for the rest of my life. That would have been an easy one, but God wanted something different, so I started doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, you know, God was the father I've never had.
Exactly.
Like my dad left when I was a kid, and it just went downhill from there. Like I was an alcoholic, I was an addict, I sold drugs, I was a thief, like I was an asshole.
Yeah.
I grew up for a long time. I was not a good dude, and I was fucking uneducated. I dropped out of school. I was fucking 14 or 15 years old, man.
Same. Yeah.
And I didn't go back until my 20s, and yet it took me a long time to figure out that I've never been
Right.
alone, that he was there all the way.
Exactly.
And this is the story of the book, right? Is how do you the thing is how do you explain Christian values without preaching to people? Because most people don't want to be preached to. Like I'm part of a men's group. I was asked by a buddy of mine here in Alabama to be part of his men's group. I'm like, okay, you know what? No problem. It's a men's ministry, and he's trying to reach men. We had our first meeting last Monday. Just the leaders, if you will, the elders, however you want to call
Hmm.
them. Like we were about 7 guys. The pastor from the church was there, and a bunch of other people. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, guys, how many of you are lifelong
Hmm.
Christians? Every single one of them. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you guys don't even understand why people don't want to learn more about the Bible. You don't even understand your own people. They show up, you have 500 people showing up on a Sunday, yet you only have about 120 people that are ready to join your groups to develop their knowledge of the
Hmm.
Bible. Why? What the fuck are you guys doing wrong? You
Yeah. Well,
guys are
this.
wrong. What are you doing that is not speaking to those people? And they're just sitting there all butthurt because I'm telling them that they're the problem. And you know what I realized too? This is one of the most fucked up thing I've realized since I've been dealing with other pastors and a lot of elders. Because again, we did 23
Hmm.
states. Everywhere we stayed, we went to
Hmm.
church. So I got to meet dozens of fucking pastors over the US. And the common denominator that they all have, or outside of about one, they never lived, they don't live like Christians, and they never found God at the bottom of a
Mm.
pit. I found God when I had nothing else.
That's
That's all that was there. And I'm like, that's all there
yeah.
is. How much sense does
Those
that
are those
make,
are
right?
usually the true
But,
believers. It's like, well, go
but
ahead.
then one of the elders, last week, he said to me that he believes in God because the Bible tells him
Mm.
so. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? I've met God so many times in my life. Like he has touched me, physically touched me. How can you say that you're Christian if you've never had that type of relationship with
Yeah.
God. This is what the Bible tells you, to have a deep to have a deep relationship with your God, to feel your
Yeah.
God, to speak to him. Like, it's
Yeah.
insane. But yet those people are going to tell me that they can go to non-believers or people that have questions. They know something's missing in their lives and they can convince them that they need Christ. Are you fucking kidding me? Who the
Well,
fuck
didn't we
are
talk
you?
about this?
You've never lived
We
a
talked
life.
about this before
Yes.
with
Oh, I talk about this
well,
shit all the time, man.
we
It drives
brought
me
it up
nuts.
with our issue with the Christ for Clicks crew, right?
Oh, that is such a great term.
These
Such a great
people
term.
these people with the Candace Owenses, and it's not just Candace Owens, there's so many of these people. I had this girl on my podcast. She's a former army psyop officer, and one day she was well, one month she seemed pretty fairly normal, and then she went super into Jesus, but it's more Christ for clicks, where she's using her platform as a soapbox to talk down to people and talk about how being gay is an abomination against God and shit like that, right? It's like these people they are using the Bible, and this is the post that you were telling we brought up on your show, right? You're using the Bible as sort of a rule book to subjugate other people into joining your cult, as opposed to just genuinely being a decent person and being and following the word of God. You can I the A Christian that just follows the 10 commandments and feels like they're talking to God every day is probably infinitely better than somebody who has memorized the Bible but doesn't actually truly believe what they're saying. They're just repeating what they're saying.
But the vast majority of people do not understand what they read. I say this all the time, and I told them at that meeting, I'm like, guys, instead of talking Christians, why do we not act like Christian? Stop talking the Bible and be the fucking Bible. The Bible's not complicated. Be
Exactly.
more like Christ. What did Christ do? Hang out with the people that people don't love, the misfits, the
And
the
yeah,
criminals, the assholes of society,
and love
because
them.
he understood, not only loved them, that's one, but then he stood up to the Pharisees and say, "You guys are full of shit." He
Exactly.
was so loved. They loved him so much that they crucified him. That's how
Exactly.
much love they had. But this is the part they never talk. And I was telling that to the pastor this weekend. I'm like, bro, why is it that we don't talk about the fact that Jesus Christ was an asshole?
Yeah.
He was not, you know what? He was not a nice guy.
Hey,
Did he do it out of love?
flipped over tables,
100%.
freaking all that.
But he did it out of love, but
Yeah.
he was an asshole by today's standards, and even by then standard, because
Yeah.
they fucking killed him for it. But this is the part that they're not ready. They're not ready to stand up for what it is and look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, we've been weak. Like, look at all the churches down south that closed during COVID. I'm like, oh wow, so you're gonna follow what the government tells you. So you're telling me that people don't need God
Mm.
when everything is going down the drain?
Well,
This is where God is needed the most. You're supposed to
they
stand up
kept
for
open
Jesus.
liquor stores. Church, no. Church, nah. But liquor stores, yeah. You're good.
But this is on the church. This is on the church too, right? The church needs to stand up and say, you know what? We're supposed to follow the government until you're getting in between us and God.
Exactly.
If you're
Yeah.
following God, follow the law. But if
Yeah.
it does not, if you're preventing people from being around other Christians when they need Christians,
Uh-huh.
you're not doing God's work. You
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
So it's just unfortunate that it's unfortunate because the church does not seem to care.
There
They
does
don't seem
seem
to want to change their ways. So it's going to take guys like you and I. They're going to be belligerent. They're going to swear.
Yeah.
They're going to be all tatted up and
Yeah.
looking at them and like, what the
Well,
fuck are you guys doing?
even Trump. I'm not one of those people that says that Trump is the new Messiah. I'm not that crazy. But even Trump, right? Trump is not your typical Christian, right? He's not your typical politician. He's hard to take. He tells you what you need to hear, and he makes the actions that you need versus what you want. He's not palatable because of that reason. And that's exactly what you're talking about with good Christians who are willing. See, I was also talking to somebody about this recently, right? Where he was like, we need to bring shaming back. I go, no. I go, no,
No,
you don't need to shame people,
no.
right? You can rebuke certain behavior without shaming people, because that's what Candace Owens does, right? That's what these Christ for Clicks people do. It's a constant you are never going to bring people over to your side by telling them how awful they are, right? It's not going to happen, right? If you truly do believe that something that somebody is doing is wrong, let's just use the example of gay people, right? That's a big one. Gay people,
Great example.
right? If you truly believe them, then bring them to your fucking church, okay? And make sure it's a church that's going to accept them, not affirm them, but accept them. My church, Community Bible in San Antonio, very clear. My pastor, Pastor Ed Newton, he did this one sermon where he was talking about how he goes, anybody, he goes, there's 3,000 people in there. It's a mega church. He goes, any one of you 3,000 people that hates on gay people or hates on trans people or hates on, he goes, you get out and they can stay. He goes, if you hate them, you are not part of this congregation. You accept them, but you do not affirm their behavior. The act of what they are doing may be a sin, but what have you done today? I bet you've committed a sin today. I bet you have cheated on your wife. I bet you have cheated on your taxes. How dare you look at them and say you're the sinner? Right. So it was like and I was like, I'm sitting there getting fucking jazzed up, and I'm like, yes, because that's how you do it. You bring them in, and then maybe they'll have a come to Jesus revelation on their own. Maybe they won't. You love them anyway, right? That's exactly how
Tim
you do it.
Tim Keller said it best. The church is a hospital for sinners, not a museum for saints.
Exactly.
Plain and simple. And I don't get that either. I don't understand how, this is how I see it. I want people to ask me about my Christianity, about why I'm a Christian, not because I talk about Christianity, because they see me act in a way that they're not used to seeing people act in, as in helping a stranger, even though that person might hate me.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then I want them to look at me and just say, why the fuck do you care?
Hmm.
Then I'm going to talk about Christianity. This is
Yeah.
how I want to present. I want people to approach me because they look at the way I carry myself,
Explain.
the
Yeah.
way I act around, and just say, why?
Explain
Why
instead
do
of
you do it,
preach.
bro? Why the fuck do you? Yeah, that's the thing. Why not just be Christian
Hmm.
instead of speaking Christian? It's not
Yeah.
that complicated, right?
Yeah.
Help others. It's
Well,
it's not that hard. Sit with people you don't necessarily like or you disagree with. Accept them for what they are. Try to help them if they want your help,
yeah.
and that's it. This is as easy as it is. Like, it's not fucking rocket science
It
here.
really isn't, and people just have the wrong idea. And again, the last time I'll bring this up, but the Christ for Clicks people, what they figured out is they have ability, they have an outlet to grow essentially a digital congregation. They're playing God. They're being pastor. They're being their own pastor, right? And it's not the church. It's a social media platform that they are exploiting, right? To get subjects, followers, people that listen to them. They feel powerful. They feel like I know the Lord, and I can tell you to follow me. You're not supposed to be following Candace Owens. You're supposed to be following Jesus Christ. All right? You're not supposed to be following Benny Johnson. You're supposed to be following Jesus Christ. Russell Brand, all of these people, these new Christians that
What
member
do you think about him? I was just going to ask
I
you. So I'm happy you said the name. What do you think about Russell
I've
Brand?
gone back and forth with him, and right now I'm not liking it. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. By the way, the other guy that we were talking about, Josh Seiler, the one that was dressed up as a
Just Cider, Cedar,
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 Seiter. Yep.
Cedar, Josh Cedar. I think since the last time we spoke, it's 100% confirmed that I was right. What he is doing is
He took his post down.
He's
He took his
yeah,
post
he's
down.
doing the Christ for Clicks as a social experiment, and it's garbage. It's exactly what he was doing. For those of you that don't know who we're talking about, Josh Cedar is the guy who for like 6 months dressed up. He just put on dresses and makeup. He didn't wear a wig. He wasn't actually trans, but he was pretending to be trans. And then he comes out like not too long ago, and he goes, "Actually, I was just doing a social experiment where I was trying to see how many people would believe that I was actually trans." Right now, what he's doing, which I have a big problem with, is he's doing the same thing with Christianity. He's essentially trying to emulate his own version of Candace Owens, Christ for Clicks, and quoting the Bible and doing this, that, and the other. Mock God all you want, dude, but mock him at your own fucking peril is all I'll say. You know, just do you, boo boo. It's your fucking life. It's not mine. So I just
But he took that post down, you know, the one we talked about when you were on my show?
yeah.
I
Oh, he's put
actually
up
tried to go find it
yeah.
afterwards, and I'm like, he took it
He's
down.
put up a couple more since I've seen it. Yeah.
It's just, you know, do as you said, mock God all you want, man. I'm not the one that has to explain
Yeah,
myself to him.
exactly. I'm not gonna be in front of St. Peter like, yeah, that's what I did. You know, like,
No,
I'm not-
but Russell Brand is one of those two that I don't know how to take him.
I think
I really
he's
don't know. I do not know.
I think he believes what he's saying, in a certain degree. I think that Russell Brand as an addict, is trying to fill the void of
Mm,
addiction with Christ. He feels like, this is, and I'm not a psychologist or anything. I'm just guessing, but I think that that's a possibility that he did actually find Jesus, but now I think what he's doing is what all addicts do, right? They're abusing it.
yeah.
It's you're mainlining Jesus, and that's not how you do it. You don't force Jesus. You don't. It's he comes to you when he
And I
comes to
think
you.
you're right. I think that's exactly what kind of, I don't want to say rubs me the wrong way, but kind of bothers me is
Yeah.
that it seems too much, too
Well,
fast, and now it's everything.
I think anybody that does Christ for clicks rubs me the wrong should rub everyone the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
It's like social media is it's not the place for it. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, because you got people like Johnny Root who are constantly going like who are constantly tying religion to politics, right? Constantly saying we need to ban abortion, we need to ban this, we need to ban that. You want authoritarianism because you're Christian, right? That's not constitution. That's not conservatism. Conservatism is in America anyway. It's about preserving the Constitution, conserving American values based off of the Constitution. You can say whatever you want, right? But the actual Constitution, the Declaration of Independence is very clear about faith. But the Constitution itself, which is essentially the law book of America, has nothing about faith in it, except for the separation of church and state. But that's a small thing that doesn't really apply to anything. Um, in fact, it what it does is it actually keeps them separated in a certain degree. So while it is true that we are a Judeo Christian nation and our values are personal being the key word, values should be centered around that. And we should not be multicultural outside of that. However, right, the Constitution itself, which is the rule book and the law, right, should be completely void of that and based off of the people voting for their elected representatives who then enact laws based off of the will of the people. So if the will of the people is creating laws that are outside of govern of Christ, right? Then the job is not to give power to the government to correct it. It's actually to start looking inward, starting from the ground up, going to church, getting in your community, start leading by example, and then creating the culture where the will of the people emulates Christ. People have it completely backwards. It's not give the government power, it's give yourself power, give Christ power, and then let all things happen through him.
It's always the top down and bottom up type of politics that's normally more conservative.
Correct.
Bill, instead of forcing people into submission through laws and consequences, you actually train your people to have moral values based on a set of rules that is from God.
Correct.
Then you change your society. Unfortunately, it takes a long time, right? It takes
Yeah.
generations
Well,
to
it's the
change a
harder
culture.
yeah, it's the harder thing to do.
Unfortunately,
But you know what? That's the thing
unfortunately.
about, and this is again why I have a big problem with TikTok and certain other things. I mean, you have the former KGB agent talking about it. You have China and them talking about their 100-year plan for America. They have done a lot of damage over time, and the only thing that can fix it is time. Right? You can't just change it by creating a few laws and going, yay, we're good. No, there are so many people that are indoctrinated. We've come further away from Christ. We've had a lot of ideological principles instilled in the youth, but through our education system and what have you. And what I see TikTok as is I see it as a long game to indoctrinate the next generation, which is why I'm ringing the fire alarm now. Also, this does apply to all social media, by the way. It really does. It's for Facebook, it's for X, it's for Instagram, it's for all of it. But the difference is China wants us to fall, and these other companies probably don't, not at their core principles. They probably want to get rich. They probably want to use your data to sell you more products, but they don't actually want you to be fucking speaking Mandarin. That's the difference. So the control of a platform being in China's hands is actually a problem. In fact, any foreign adversaries' plans, hands. I mean, it shouldn't be in Russia's hands. Shouldn't be in North Korea's hands. Shouldn't be in Israel's hands. Shouldn't be in India's hands. No, no other nation should control the messaging to 175 million people in America.
That I can agree with. That I can agree that no foreign nation should have the last say or be able to indoctrinate Americans. At the same time, though, if we agree that most people that control the planet is a very small group of people, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
they don't care. They really don't care that you're Chinese. They don't care you're American. They don't care how they do it.
sure.
They're going to supply, they're going to pay both sides of the equation.
Well,
At
the
the end of
N
the day,
yeah,
it's all about control,
the
right?
NWO globalism.
Yeah, 100%. So that's the thing, right? This is the one thing. So that's why when I say, like, to me, all social media platforms can be evil,
Oh yeah,
but like anything in life, it's a double-edged sword.
sure.
What do you use it for? And is it, you know, as much as I create content for a living, I can tell you that most people spend more time on social media than I do,
Yeah,
but it is conscious. Like it is my time is very conscious. I know that I have to spend a certain amount
yeah,
on social media because this is kind of what I do.
yeah.
But then when I'm done, I'm done.
That's what
I'm not somebody that browses
doom scrolls.
social media. I'm looking for something. I'm looking for either guests. I'm looking for to see what's going on because I
Sure.
follow very specific people. But I'm not just aimlessly
Doom.
just
Yeah.
spending hours upon
Yeah.
hours. It's like brain masturbation at this
Yeah, well,
point,
I've
right?
been doing that lately, and that's because I haven't been working. I'm actually, I was, I was supposed to start a job last week, and they, at the very literally the day I was supposed to come in, they canceled some big family emergency. So now I've had 4 weeks off. And it's like you realize that the people that it affects, that social media probably affects the most, are people who are not busy, right? I have been busy for 12 years. This is the first time I've ever had a month off of work, and it's because of my mom being sick and a series of unfortunate events. Luckily, I am starting a new very big project soon, and I know that once I start working, when I'm at work from 7 a.m., I mean, I'll do my podcast in the morning, but this social media platform Rumble, it's I'm having a conversation with you like we're in person. So it's not the same thing as regular social media. Um the I would say from like 8:30, 9 o'clock until probably 5 o'clock at night. I don't scroll on my phone at all. And then I have a routine when I get home. I do the gym, I cook my dinner, I clean the house, I do that. I'm on my phone in very short, almost like cigarette breaks, right? Where it's like 5, 10 minutes, maybe 4 or 5 times a day. So a total of 1 hour, right? Whereas now that I've been off of work, I'm doing like 8 hours, bro. I'm literally doom scrolling. And I'm like, dude, this is not good for my mental health. It's not good for anybody's mental health. So the people that it affects the most are probably people that have way too much time on their hands. And it sort of keeps them in that hole, that dopamine hole, where they're not even interested in going out and getting a job. They're not even interested in going out into the real world. They're living inside of a digital world and they don't go outside. So it's dangerous on every platform.
Couldn't agree with you more. It's Jordan Peterson talked about that years ago, saying that the biggest problem we have today is too much time on our hands. That's why people complain so much
Hmm.
because they have no purpose. They have nothing that they're working to accomplish. They're not striving for anything.
Hmm.
So what do? They look at all the problems in their lives and they complain, they complain, they
Hmm.
complain. Now imagine that on fucking social media for 8 hours a day.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I couldn't do it. I'm so happy that most of the conversations that my social media is literally politics, fitness, dog videos.
Yeah, there you
Because
go.
of my wife and I, right? And I'm so happy that half of the shit that pops on my face are dog videos or
Yeah,
fitness because I'm into both.
there you go.
But I cannot imagine people looking through politics or negative content day in, day out.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can be mentally
It you need to be a
how can you be mentally healthy?
you
You can't be mentally
You need
healthy
to
in those
be
situations. There's no way.
you need to be crazy like me. That's the problem. I am fully aware of how insane I am. Right? Like if the fact that I can I'm like so I'm like I suck up that shit, right? But it's unfortunately the reason why. The reason why I am so well trained in hate and being hated is because they tried to cancel me over a joke, right? They tried to ruin my life over a joke. They were posting pictures of my mom's house saying, "I'm gonna go rape your mom now, and you can't do anything about it because you're in Texas." Like they were coming to my house, sending, like I said, they sent the FBI after me. They still stalk me to this day. And once you become once that you normalize that, and once you find your baseline, you sort of disconnect from the part of your brain that gets offended and gets emotionally which you should be scared, you should be emotionally outburst, but people could say the worst thing to me now, and I am dead stone cold, like I even laugh, I'm like, "Meh," and that's not healthy. Trust me, I know it's not healthy where I'm at.
It depends though, because I've been doing this for 4 years now. I get the nastiest fucking shit sent to me to a point where people attacked my wife,
Yeah.
which is why you'll never see any mention of my wife. You'll never see pictures. You'll
Yeah,
never
keep
see.
her safe, yeah.
I do not follow my wife. You cannot find who she is unless I want to, and I
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah,
She does not deserve the hate that I get every day. She has nothing to do with this.
exactly.
But at the same time, man, you know, following Christ has taught me that those people are sick.
Yep. So
So if I people insult me, I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Because one, I don't care. I've been training for 20 years in martial art, bro. You wanna
Mhm.
come to my place? I'll give you my address.
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
fucking knock you.
I
You're
have
either
for
gonna get shot. No, it depends. My dog's either gonna jump you. I have a German Shepherd. There's a good reason I have German Shepherds,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So either my dog's gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna shoot you.
No,
Pick your fucking poison. Like at this point, but
I've put my address online several times because every time somebody threatens me, I just go, I'll put 111 Probant, San Antonio, I'll leave the light on, and that is my real address. I am not afraid of
but
any of you.
But it's never
But
gonna happen, that's the
they
thing.
don't
I
show.
I know for a fact that, people have a very different approach when they talk shit online
Mhm.
than they meet me. I'm 235, 6'1",
Yeah.
and I ain't fucking fat, bro. So, there's a very big no, no, but it's easy to talk shit when you're behind a screen. When I'm in your face and we can have a conversation, and I'm not somebody that raise my voice at people either. I will
Mhm.
talk to you extremely
Calm.
calmly and politely,
No.
but
But
it's
in your
different
mind,
in real
yeah.
life.
Yeah,
But once
no.
you understand that, you're just like, "You know what, bro? I understand who I'm talking to. You're still helping me with the algorithm, so thank you,
Yep.
and move on. What else can
Exactly.
I do?"
No, you're right about that, and we'll move on from that because I could talk about it for fucking I don't know, a year. So um, you said in your last thing I wanted to get to. This is very insightful, and it's a single sentence in your bio, and it's talking about the five virtues of a good man: provider, protector,
Mm.
courage, temperance, and faith. Expound on that.
Protection, all to do with body. So everything, again, that men's group I'm part of. I don't know if I'm still part of it after what I did, but we'll see.
I'm sure you'll be
But
fine.
none of them are healthy.
Yeah.
None of them are in shape. None of them eat properly. Like they had their first meeting with people on Saturday.
Uh huh.
They had biscuits, all the nasty shit,
Yeah.
the bajendol crap, the McDonald's shit.
Uh huh.
I got there with my Greek yogurts with fruits and 6 cooked eggs.
Yeah.
This is what I ate, but I am the only one that's healthy.
Mhm.
I'm the only one that's physically fit. So protection, as much as a man is supposed to protect others, supposed to protect his family,
Yeah, you're supposed to protect
he needs
yourself.
to be fit to do so.
Yeah.
He needs to be fit to do so. Then
Provider.
you have the protection, you have the provider. Obviously, a man is supposed to provide.
Yeah.
That means that he has a connection to his mind. That means he is smart. I and smart does not mean educated.
Yeah.
I'm a lot smarter than most people that are
Yeah.
educated, and I'll put you to the test
I'd
any day
say
you want,
I
but I'm
call
very
I
researched, right?
call it intelligence versus intellectualism, right? I would
100%.
rather an intelligent person than an intellectual, right? Because you can read a
And
book and you can fucking recite it, but that doesn't mean you're smart.
the you know one of the things that researcher will tell you is that intelligence is based on imagination and creativity.
Mm,
Because if you're capable of creating, normally that's what they associate intelligence with young kids.
mm-hmm,
Are they creative? Yes, they're going to be they should become intelligent.
mm-hmm.
So you have your protection. That's a physical aspect of things. Like you should learn how to fight. You should learn how to defend yourself. You should be, you should be a fucking nasty animal on a chain.
Yeah.
You should be able to kill people if you need to,
Yep.
but yet leave it chained because 99.99999% that should never happen. You know the old Chinese saying, I'd rather be a
In a
warrior in a
garden
garden
than
than
a
a
gardener.
gardener in a war zone.
Exactly.
So this is protection to me.
Yeah.
You're providing is find ways to provide for your family, but that's not just monetarily. Yes, making money is great, but
Providing
at the
love
end
and
of the day,
support and all that other stuff.
exactly, you're supposed to love your wife.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to love your children. You're supposed to provide. There's one place in the world where a safe environment exists, and it's at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only place you actually control.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to provide it to your children. And unfortunately, you need to be able to provide them financially so they have a home,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to be a protector in order for them to feel safe at home.
Yeah.
Because once you cross that front door, it ain't fucking safe out there.
No, I know. Yeah, it's
So
a dangerous world out there, man.
then you have courage.
Courage.
Courage is pretty self fucking
Yeah.
explanatory, right? Courage has nothing to do with are you scared or not. Courage is not about not being scared. Courage is doing something when you're fucking scared shitless.
Exactly. Exactly.
Then you have temperance, which I believe I will, because my next book is on that. Those are the principles of the book.
Mm-hmm.
But I've come to realize the more I deepen my understanding of the Bible, the more I understand that temperance might not be the right word. It might be wisdom.
Wisdom. Yeah.
But
King Solomon.
because because if you're wise, you know how to control your temper.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at men are supposed to be stoic.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time and place for you to be emotional, and it should be at home with your children, with your wife. You're supposed to be open to them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're outside in the real world, you're supposed to be stoic. You're not supposed to let others piss you off.
Mm-hmm.
One of the example I always use, if I look up to you and I say your mother's a whore,
Mm-hmm.
if that's all it takes for you to want to pick a fight with me, bro, I'm gonna fucking rip you to pieces. Not only
Exactly.
that, but that means you're controllable.
Yeah.
That means that any fucking asshole can show up, say something very mean to you, sure.
Yeah.
But that's all it takes for you to lose your shit.
Yep.
That is easily controllable,
You know,
which is why temperance is so
I
important. But I think wisdom is more
I think
because knowing the difference between good and bad
yeah.
is the ultimate gift. Even Solomon asked for it, right?
I think the true test of temperance, if you want to test somebody, is see how they are in traffic, right? See, a buddy of mine, my buddy that was actually just over here the other night. He's like, you're a completely different person than you are online. He's like, because we were driving, and he's like, somebody's like, cutting in Texas, everybody's Ricky Bobby, so they're always cutting you off and everything like that. And he's like, he's like,
What a great movie that is.
yeah. And he's just like he's like, "You're just such a calm you're a calm." In real life, I really am calm. I scream into my phone. It's an online personality. I scream into my phone and I look like I'm upset. But I try telling people all the time, I go, as soon as the record button goes off, I am chill. Right. And if you look at somebody in traffic that is constantly honking their horn and riding people's asses and getting like that, like, you are very, like you said, a very easily controllable person. If because I don't care. It's as long as you don't actually hit my car, I'm probably not going to have an emotional outburst. I'm just going to slow down. I might every once in a while flip you off, but that is the true test of temperance: is watch somebody drive.
But that is why it's so important.
Mm,
Temperance is so important.
yeah,
You have to be able to control your emotions. And, you look at a relationship with a woman, a man is a woman's rock,
yeah,
but a woman is a man's weakness.
yeah.
You're supposed to be, I want it. My wife is extremely feminine.
Hmm.
I want a very feminine woman. I want a woman that is led by emotions.
Hmm.
This is what femininity is all about.
Hmm.
But that means that in order for her to be like that, I need to be a rock. I need to be more calm than her.
Yeah.
I need to be more logical than her. I need to give her the space for her to do that
Mhm.
because I want her to teach my kids emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
This comes from her, it doesn't come from men. This comes from women.
Yeah.
So we have to be in control of ourselves and know when it's appropriate to be emotional and when it is not, when you need to be the rock that they deserve.
It's that's why
And
the
then
nuclear
faith,
the nuclear family is so important because of that dynamic.
it's crucial. It's not even important. It's crucial. Look at the
Crucial.
state of affairs in which we find ourselves
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah,
One of the main factors is because men are have
well,
been pushed
70
out of the
it's
family.
almost 70% of people in prison are grew up without a father in the home. It's like, what that's the correlation. That's it, you don't need to do any more testing or studying. You should be promoting the nuclear family like it's the fucking like it's the holy grail because it is, you know?
But that's what Marxism is for you, right? You cut the connection with God. That's first and foremost. They
Mhm.
always do it,
Yep.
and then they remove the nuclear family. That's always the second one, and they replace it by the state.
Mhm.
This is always look at any
Yep.
country that's been
You create
communist,
a yep, you
socialist.
create
Oh,
a vacuum
yeah,
and then fill it.
yeah,
Create a vacuum, and
100%.
that's the dangers with people like Andrew Tate and Candace Owens, right? Because they're trying to fill a vacuum of a lack of Christ and a lack of masculinity. Those two together combined, and people like them, they are very dangerous because people are thirsting for a figure to lead them to a place that they feel safe, right? And if you are not careful, somebody will swoop in who does not have your best interest in heart, and they will lead you astray. And that's why I think it's one of the biggest problems. The Christ for clicks people is something I've been talking about. The Andrew Tates, something I've been talking. Well, the woke right, whatever you want to call them. There's a reason why I talk about what I'm talking about. I'm subtly sounding an alarm because I'm seeing something that could manifest into something. Um, but yeah, like your last virtue of faith. Um,
Who you leading people to?
it
Because
could
as you just said, are you leading them to your word or are you leading them to God's word?
exactly what we're
And
talking
that
about.
I am just a channel. I'm just a bridge between you and God.
Hmm.
You want to know more about God? I have some answers for you, but you really want to know him? Go that way.
Talk to him.
Go that way.
Yeah,
Go right there.
yeah.
It's all about you build a relationship with God. I can
Hmm.
show you how to start it, but that relationship belongs to you and God. I you know, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a pastor. I do not need somebody between me and God. My relationship with God is personal.
Well,
And this is what most people need to understand.
somebody said, I can't even remember who told me, but it was probably something I saw, and it was like the first step, which for me was just pray, right? Just try it. Right,
Mhm.
and they were like it was, I can't remember exactly what they said, but they go, "I'm gonna show you how easy it is to pray. All you do is first you thank God, right? Then you ask something of God, and then you say what you are grateful for, right? It's like those three things. It's really it seems dumb to a lot of people, especially that are not religious, to literally get on your knees and start talking to nobody, right? But it's you're not talking to nobody. That's the point. But even if you don't believe it, right? This is something that happened to me. I was struggling with work, and I tried this is right when I was first starting to pray again. I was struggling with work. I did the prayer thing and I followed those steps, right? I said, "Thank you, God, for everything." Um, and then here's what I need from you. I'm really struggling right now with work, and I could really use a job. And I don't know how I'm going to survive if I don't continue working because I got so much going on. And then I ended with but I am grateful for my friends, my family, this, that, and the other. And then that was it. It was like a 30-second prayer. I'm not joking, bro. This was in my truck that I did this about 2 fucking minutes later. Right? Some guy knocked on my window. This has never happened to me. And he was a traveling minister. And he goes, "Hey, I just wanted to show you we're traveling from North Carolina all across and we just spreading the word of God." And I go, "I was just praying." And he goes, "Oh, do you mind if I pray with you?" And yeah, so we did the prayer. About, I don't know, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours later, I got an email for a project that wanted me to come look at it, and I ended up getting the job. And it was like I felt it. It could have been a coincidence, sure, but I felt like it wasn't. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter. Just try it. Try it and see if something happens. That's all I'm saying.
There's no such thing as a coincidence.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
o the only thing the only coincidences that happens is because people don't realize that everything's connected. They don't take the time to actually look at what's going on around them and see the action and reactions. And spending 2.5 years in the woods, bro, if there's one thing that I learned is that God's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Spend time away from your phone, spend time away from people. I spent so much time by myself, and I'm a massive extrovert. That was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, me
But you
too.
know what? I've Look around you. If you're alone in the woods with no distractions, just by yourself sitting outside, look at the world around you and tell me that this is an accident.
Yeah.
Tell me that there's not something there. Just walk in the woods by yourself. Tell me that you do not feel the connection with everything around you.
You know, sometimes the most peace I have is when I'm hunting. It's not really hunting either. In Texas, it's sitting in a blind by yourself. You're sitting in a
Yep.
blind by yourself, looking out a window. Nothing is there except for the sounds of nature. You get to see the birds. You get to see the you hear the wind. You just feel it, and the most peaceful thing ever. I highly recommend people try it. And I love that I don't get service out there, right? Because I can't even doom scroll on my phone while I'm waiting for a deer to show up. You just stare. You stare out, and it's awesome. Anyway, man, this was awesome. Speaking of awesome, um, I loved having you on, and the thing about the Christ thing that we're doing, right? Like, I think that you were right. More people like you and me, extroverted, tattooed up sinners, right? Or former sinners, or well, everybody's a
I'm still
sinner.
a sinner.
Everybody's a
I'm still
sinner.
a sinner.
Former scumbags who are now just sinners.
I like that.
um are going to be the ones who lead in this new movement of Christianity. The Christ for clicks people that claim to be moral superiority complex, like, just ideological perfect people, are going to lead people, I think, further away. And I think that more voices like you need to be heard, which is why I'm glad I had you on, brother. And
Thanks for having me on, man.
yeah, and we'll do it again soon. Anyway, guys, let's do the shout outs. Nico, we do a shout out, but let me see if anybody had a question for you real quick while I'm in here. You're the first person that said they were suspended on Truth Social. Did you say you were? Oh, no, sorry. That's somebody else in the chat. Zach, my pastor was preaching about Revelations chapter 17 using the current cultural environment on both sides where the devil is infiltrating Christian conservatives and used Andrew Tate as an example. I mean, you keep going to that church. All right. That's that's a good one. That's
That's funny.
that's a good one. All right, shout outs. Eden, On the Edge, Georgia Mom, Tits on McGoran, TPH14, Tommy Girl, 7169, 508, Jay Fisher, Eric Sisson 40, Mrs. Lovegood, and Moon McDare. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. And Nico, if you want to tell everybody how to find you on social media, we'll end it there.
Real Nico Lagan on absolutely every platform.
Lagan. Okay, I knew he was going to correct me. I think I got it close enough.
Ah,
Uh, all right, boys. My last
I'll
name is Bonfilio. It's much harder to get right. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.